When the workers own the manufacturing, distribution, supply chain, and the means of production, you never have to strike again. Why? Because the workers are the owners.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
We got another caller. This caller from a 516 area code. 516 area code. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jacob, how you doing?
Jacob.
Name is Roger. No. I said, Jacob, how you doing? My name is Roger. I'm calling from New York.
Roger from New York. Sorry. Roger, not Jacob from New York. What's on your mind?
So I was hoping you were going to ask Dan my question when he was on that I live chatted, but it seems he has a loyal constituency. I would say to him, not every fight has to be done at the federal level. There's more than enough that he can get done in Nebraska. Nebraska is one of 17 states that allows you to run citizen-led initiative amendment measures to appear on the ballot that the Nebraskans, can ratify into the Nebraska Constitution. He can take that constituency of his, start a petition drive, and run those worker-friendly amendment measures to qualify to be on the 2026 ballot. Why go through the middleman politician hoping on a wish and a prayer that they will do it for you when you have direct democracy at home where you could do it yourself? Now, that's the first thing I wanted to say. I'd like to know if you have any comments on that.
Oh, I mean, I don't think it's an either or, but I do think that the citizen initiatives that they have in Nebraska is really important and really good, and I'm sure that that's part of the conversation. I apologize for not seeing that comment while he was on the question that you had, but I'm sure that that's part of the conversation, and I would hope that it is part of the conversation. But I do think that holding that getting those seats of power and having people that are friendly to working folks, holding them so, like, if for no other reason, so that anti-worker politicians cannot stop these citizen-led initiatives from going forward. I mean, there was one somewhere, I think it was Florida, but I can't. But they passed a higher minimum wage, and the legislature either killed it or amended it or made it, like really kind of messed it up, right? Even though the populace voted for it, the legislature kind of got in the way of it, right? And so I think that both are important. That it's a really cool thing that they have that in Nebraska. They should utilize it. I hope that Dan is having these conversations and that they're making plans to utilize it. But it's also important to have people in power that are, at the very least, not going to stop the citizens when they do these things, and also support the citizens and have a broader program. Yeah.
It might have not been Florida. The only reason I say that is because usually when you see that type of stuff, it's when they push it as a citizen initiative law, which means that if you push, I always tell people in these citizen ballot initiative states, if you're going to run something that threatens power, don't run it as a law, run it as an amendment. Because if you run it as a law, then the legislature can repeal or change it around without having to ask you first, unlike if it were an amendment, okay? Florida only gives voters the power to amend. They don't, they can give themselves through running an initiative amendment to give themselves the ability to repeal and pass laws as well. But as it is right now, if it was Florida, then they would have had to have ask the voters first by putting a legislative initiative amendment on the ballot. But it might have been something else. But I understand it's always a fight regardless. But I'm just saying, usually what you can get done, you want to get done at the federal level, you can get it done at the state level as well. You know what I'm saying? It's through direct democracy. Now, speaking of direct democracy, of which, something else I would like for all of us who are for workers to consider. Unions are more of a reform to a capitalist system than they are getting rid of the capitalist system. As long as we have the dynamic of the boss's interests separate from workers' interests, we will always be in this eternal fight to make sure that workers do not get taken advantage of. The only way that we can actually have, at least in the private sector, that workers win this war is workers have to own and run the economy. And the only way that could happen is if we abolish corporations, especially shareholder owned, and instead replace them with stakeholder cooperatively owned by workers, AKA worker cooperatives.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
When the workers own the manufacturing, distribution, supply chain, and the means of production, one, you never have to strike again. Why? Because the workers are the owners. Two, you have a guaranteed American-made manufacturing base. I mean, what worker cooperative is going to vote to move the manufacturing plant outside of their community, state, and country? Three, it ensures high quality products and service due to the fact that the workers' morale will be boosted because they would have a vested interest through their sense of ownership to make sure it's done right. Four, they would not vote to replace their jobs with automation, or if they do, they would vote to make sure there is another position that is created for the human being. Five, it's self-regulating since the factory is located within the community. So they're going to make sure that they do not put their community at risk, not their natural environment, nor their natural environment in regards to air, water, and soil quality. There would be no cover-ups because it's part of the community. Six, it's guaranteed workplace safety. They're not going to force themselves to work in unsafe conditions without self-correction first. Seven, it provides a constant, stable, and reliable tax base for the community and the state. They're not just going to pack up and leave because they don't want to pay taxes. Eight, service is more emphasized than greed, so an anti-inflationary practice is already intertwined within it. Nine, it protects from high unemployment. And 10, workers are less likely to take the company public for a payday for the simple fact that it is more than just a job, but part of their culture and way of life. In case you didn't know, I don't know if you read that Forbes article that they said that if Apple was a worker cooperative, each worker owner would get paid $403,000 a year. So that's what I'm saying in regards to unions in the public sector. I think unions should exist in the public sector, but in the private sector, the workers should own the economy through worker cooperatives and build that way.
All right.
I know that was a lot.
No, yeah, Roger from New York. Appreciate your call. We're gonna let you go and wrap up the show, but I agree. I think that yeah, we should absolutely do that. I think that Germany has an interesting model that needs to be expanded, but they have if the workplace has 1,000 workers or more, then they have to have 50% or 40% of the board of directors be elected by the workers, and I think that obviously that's not exactly what you're talking about. That's not direct worker ownership, but yes, I think workers should own the companies that they work for, and the people who do not create any value, who make their money from the value that other people create, should not actually have the ownership. So yeah, there you go. You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project. And you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.